update. Am I the a-hole for siding with my dad in my parents' divorce even though he cheated? Original post. I listen to a lot of people read Reddit stories, but I've never used the platform myself. I'm in a situation where I feel I have no one else to turn to, so I made this account and I'm asking strangers on the internet. I am 15 male and the oldest of 3. My brother is the middle, 11 male, and my sister is the youngest, 8 female. My family has always been kind of messy, and I knew that from the beginning. But growing up, I always felt outcasted by my mother and her side of the family, which is mostly just her sister since my mom isn't close with her parents. I noticed this more as my brother and sister got older. It was like night and day. For example, at school, if I made some crappy painting, my mom wouldn't even look at it. But I noticed that now, with my brother but especially my sister, anything she makes is treated like it was touched by the hand of God itself and gets displayed everywhere. My aunt, my mom's sister, would never ask how my day was or talk to me much. If I wanted to tell her something, she didn't care. But with my brother and sister, she's the warmest person. So nice, so kind, so much fun. But she was never like that with me. My mom would sometimes not even set a plate for me at the table, and I had to get my own. One year, in a family Christmas card, she used a picture without me in it. I used to hear my mom and dad fight about this a lot, especially when I was younger. My dad would always ask her to try, and I think it's finally clicked for me now that I might be part of the reason for this divorce, apart from the cheating. My dad and his family were the opposite. They loved me, and I have a great relationship with my father. He's the best dad ever. A few days before my parents told us about the divorce, I got in a huge fight with my mom, and kinda my dad, but he was just there, over unrelated things. During that fight, I asked her why she didn't love me, and I think, in a moment of anger, she admitted she didn't want me and that I was a failed abortion. I don't quite know what went wrong, but in my state, abortions aren't legal, so I guess it was her being young and not having proper access or something. At that moment, my dad basically exploded on her and sent me to bed. I think I shut down after this. I just remember crying in my bed that night. I knew I was a teen pregnancy, but I thought my mom and dad pushed through that. I thought that even though I was a teen pregnancy, they still loved me and worked hard to pass high school and take care of me. When my parents sat us down and told me and my siblings they were getting divorced, I felt numb. My siblings were distraught, but I still felt numb even now. My aunt was there and told us to get ready to leave because we were going to stay with my mom for a while. In that moment, I got really upset because I did not want to go live with a woman who wanted to have me aborted, then treated me like crap throughout my life and clearly did not love me. I didn't mention the abortion part initially. So I told my aunt, mom, and dad that I didn't want to leave the house I grew up in to go stay at my aunt's house with my mom. My mother just looked sad, but I walked out of the kitchen to my bedroom to be alone. My aunt followed me and wanted to talk to me. She seemed very upset and said that my siblings look up to me. True, I'm basically a third parent to them, and that I need to be there for my mother in this hard time. I told her something like, I don't want to be there for that bitch, and my aunt got really mad. She told me I didn't understand, and that my dad cheated and I should support my mom. That's how I learned he cheated. In that moment, I honestly didn't care that he cheated. Looking back, I do think it was awful that my dad cheated on my mom. I got really mad and brought up the abortion and asked her why I should support someone who doesn't love me and didn't want me. I brought up all the things throughout my life that felt big to me. My aunt basically told me it was a complicated situation when it came to me and that I couldn't resent my mother for it. At this point, my parents came in because we were yelling. After they got her to leave, I was left alone in my room. It's been a few weeks since then, and I'm staying with my dad. My mother wants to talk to me, but I don't. I feel especially pathetic regarding my siblings. I feel like I've failed them. They really look up to me, and I'm not with them to help them through this hard time. I've basically abandoned them. I feel pathetic crying about all this when I should be proactive, calling and texting my siblings constantly. But instead, I just sit there and cry. My sister also overheard my fight with my aunt, and being 8, she didn't understand half of what we fought about. She looked it up and now thinks my mother tried to kill me. She won't accept any explanation my mom and aunt give her. My sister is distraught and thinks our mother hates me and is trying to separate us. My brother and I haven't really talked, but I think he's taking it the best out of all of us. According to my dad, my mom and aunt want to explain things to my sister, that she did not try to kill me and that my mom does not hate me. My dad does not want me to hate my mom. He wants me to talk to her because he wants me to have a relationship with her. As for how I feel about it, I don't know how I feel about the abortion stuff. I don't see it as her trying to kill me exactly. I do understand it was a teen pregnancy and a complicated situation. I think I care more that she'd treated me so terribly growing up. Looking back on everything, I don't think I can hate her for the attempted abortion. She was a scared teenager. I think I just hate her for treating me so differently and rather badly compared to my siblings growing up, and I don't want to talk to her again. As for my dad cheating, he was wrong for it. But when I look at him, I can't bring myself to truly care. And I know that makes me terrible, but I feel so conflicted. I love my dad. He's been nothing but supportive of me, in the best way a father can. But I don't want to talk to anyone. I've hardly spoken to any of my extended family, hardly spoken to my siblings, and I feel so lost but also right about my decision. Yet also like a total a-hole because my dad's a scumbag for cheating. But he doesn't act like one, and I'm supporting him even though he cheated. I'm sorry for how long this was. Am I the a-hole? I need someone to give me the cold, hard truth. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. You siding with the parent who has always loved and treated you well versus the one who has othered you your entire life makes total sense. And you have every right to not want to see your mom right now. You are the third parent, and if she's missing anything right now, it's likely your labor. 2 kids are a lot, and it's about time she found that out. She's resented you all your life while you loved her all of yours. That's a hard thing to forgive, and it's best you don't try right now. Talk to your dad about having your siblings visit you at the house. I'm sure they miss it and you. But also talk to him about the affair. What exactly was his intention? Was this a one-time mistake on his part, or did he eventually plan on moving this woman into the house? Because him letting your siblings go makes sense since they're underage, and I assume he works. It just seems odd your mom gave up rights to the house by moving out and intended to take all of you with her. That was either to punish him or by his request. You need to know which in order to plan accordingly. She moved out because, I don't know the logistics, but it's either my family doesn't actually own the house and we just live in it, and my grandparents on my dad's side own it, or my dad owns half the property. Either way, it's an inherited property from my great-grandparents, and as far as I know, my mom's name isn't on any documents for it, so I think that means my grandparents probably own it. A part of me believes I am only a third parent to her, and another part wants to believe that she weirdly misses me. Because like someone else commented, maybe me laying it out to her made her open her eyes. I don't really want to know the logistics of Dad's affair, but I'll definitely ask if the woman will be moving in, because I don't think I'll feel good about that. As for why she expected to take all of us, I think in terms of how close we are to the parents. I'm close with my dad, my brother is extremely close to my mom, and my sister is kind of caught in the middle. I think it's also just typical, or at least from what friends have said, that kids go with the mom until custody arrangements are made. Either way, a lot of people are saying to talk to my father about moving forward, and I think I will. Thank you for your advice. Now for the update. A small update from the original post. I hardly slept last night and I felt terrible at school, so my dad picked me up and we went out to lunch. When we got home, I finally had built up enough courage to ask him questions about what was on my mind and things brought up by people in my post. The conversation was surprisingly productive and honest. I mentioned in a comment on my original post that in my family we never really talked about hard things or feelings. But basically, my dad and I had a conversation like this. I asked my dad about his affair partner and basically what happened there. This was something I wanted to know but also didn't, but I still decided to ask in case she would be moving in. My dad explained that his affair went on for 5 months, that he felt drained with my mother, and that he made a terrible decision. He said the affair was discovered not because my mom went through his phone or anything, but because he confessed. The longer it went on, the more disgusting my dad felt. He said he felt like a terrible father coming home to his kids after cheating on their mother. My dad says he is not going to be talking to the woman anymore at all and plans on not dating or marrying anyone new until my siblings and I are all adults. The next thing I asked about, which I didn't really mention in the post, was his part in my mom trying to end the pregnancy and what happened back then. He said he actually didn't know she was pregnant until about 1 to 2 weeks before I was born. He also explained the gist of what my mother told him, but my dad doesn't know the exact details, so everything I say here is all he knows as well. My mom found out she was pregnant at 16 or 17 years old and told my aunt. They panicked, but my aunt tried taking my mother to get an abortion. My mom's parents found out and did not allow my mother to end the pregnancy. Even after that, my aunt still tried again to help my mom get an abortion, but this second attempt was discovered. And after that, my mom's parents sent my aunt to live with relatives until after my mom gave birth. That's what happened, so I think that means I'm not technically a failed abortion, just a prevented one. I don't think it makes much of a difference though. On the brighter side, my grandparents are going to take my siblings and me out this weekend to do some fun stuff to take our minds off all the chaos. I'm looking forward to that, since I hope that with my grandparents around, I won't have to answer many questions. And of course, I get to see my siblings. I am also feeling better. Writing my feelings out, even if it was for strangers on Reddit, helped. I did not bring up the topic of therapy with my father like many people suggested, but I am going to write my mom a letter and start journaling. Despite what many people said, I am going to have a conversation with my mother after I give her my letter and she reads and processes it. I don't know when that will be, but probably soon. I want to thank everyone who commented on the original post. I don't think I even read through half the comments, but almost all the ones I did read had great advice. Many people asked me to update them, so here it is. I don't know if I did the update correctly since this is my first time using Reddit. This is a nice update. I'm glad you had a good conversation with your dad. This is another sign that you've made the right decision for you. He's clearly a safe space for you when your mom isn't. On that note, did you ask him about how her neglect of you affected their marriage? You indicated in your last post that you saw it, so I was wondering if it came up. I suspect it is at the root of what pushed your dad to the affair. It wouldn't excuse cheating, but it would be a very understandable explanation. We did talk about that, but I didn't want to make the update too long, and it was mostly my father just apologizing a lot. He didn't mention it being the root of the affair, but I don't know what goes on inside his head. He didn't really give me a reason for the affair, but I think I'm okay not knowing one. People make mistakes, but at least your dad owned his. I truly understand why you felt unloved by your mom, and I applaud you for thinking about having a conversation with her. Perhaps she will finally own up to her mistreatment of you over the years, which may be harder to forgive. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not completely changing my kid's life just to accommodate her father? I, 35 female, was with my ex, Tom, 40 male, for a few years before having our daughter, 10 female. When she was a few weeks old, he moved out and in with another woman, and he has rarely been involved since. I finally put him on child support a few years ago, and you'd think he was father of the year for paying $300 a month. He never really had custody. I never kept her from him, but I wasn't going to chase him around trying to force him to be involved. Last year, he remarried Peggy, 45 female, and is now asking for more custody. Obviously, I talked to my daughter's therapist and agreed to every other weekend for now. I'm not forcing my kid to change her life just because Tom now wants to play family. The problem is that Tom and Peggy's house is just miserable for my daughter. I'm trying to keep her positive about it, but honestly, they're just not the kind of people or behaviors she's used to. They yell a lot, don't care about hygiene or keeping a clean house, nothing CPS would do anything about, but it does not meet normal standards, much less mine, and she hates Peggy's kids. There are 5 kids total, but 2 are older and out on their own. Peggy still has a 17-year-old son, a 12-year-old daughter, and a son my daughter's age, and they're basically feral. There's just no supervision over there. They're always on their phones, and there's no structure. My daughter plays soccer, and they were 45 minutes late to her game last weekend and didn't think it was that big of a deal. She was texting me freaking out that she'd be late, and when I called Tom, he screamed at me for calling. Tom and Peggy also live out in the boonies. It's about a 25 to 30-minute drive from my house to theirs. I told him when he started coming around that I had no intention of driving hours or changing any aspects of our lives to accommodate him, and he promised it wouldn't be a problem. Now here we are, and he's saying we need to set up a meeting point or switch off handovers. I'm already mad that my daughter needs to be in a car for so long just because Peggy needs to have a lot of property. I told him no way. He was the one that chose to live so far from us. He can do the driving. Finally, his most outrageous request has been to take my kid out of her school. She got into our district's competitive magnet school. It's not easy, and we both worked hard for it. Me filling out the forms and setting up meetings, her earning admission on her own merits. Tom says that his stepkids, that he's apparently adopting by the way, are jealous of what my daughter gets to do at school, and he wants to enroll her in their public school. Not happening. My daughter has male role models, ones who actually care about her well-being and not just social media clout. Tom can say he'll go to court, but I'll believe that when I see it. He has no gumption, and honestly, I doubt a judge would side with him anyway. I've always had full custody, have never kept her from him, but I need to stick up for my kid. Does that make me the a-hole? Stop these visits. Lawyer up. Your daughter isn't happy going there. What are you doing? Her opinion counts. If she doesn't want to go, she shouldn't have to. Make sure you tell the school he is not allowed to move her out. My ex did that while he had the child in August and just brought her to the new school on the first day, then told me, talk to your lawyer. He can't just swoop in now and start demanding changes to your systems. It's causing your daughter distress. Have her discuss this with her therapist if she has one. Good luck and good for you keeping your little girl stable and safe. Not the a-hole. I have full custody, legal and decision-making, so he couldn't do that. I did get her a therapist for all of this, but can only afford for her to see her monthly. Tom said he'd help pay, but now refuses.